Welcome to week 4. We're going to continue with our theme of grounding and using that to support feelings of being really embodied and really steady in your own posture, and from that steadiness to help us feel a firmer foundation for our lives. So last week and during your practice since last week, you've been using the long ocean breath, the long exhale down to the ground, to emphasize this sensation of grounding. So this week in week 4, we're going to add in the ocean breath on the inhale as well. So what we'll do is just revise for a moment the ocean breath, both on exhale and then introducing the inhale, and then we'll begin our practice. So take a moment to close your eyes. And if you don't want to close your eyes, just have your eyes forward and downcast. Pay attention for a moment to exactly how you feel right here, right now. Remember, we always start our yoga practice from this awareness of exactly how we feel right now. And make sure you look after yourself during the yoga practice, and if there's anything you're particularly looking after in your body, then take care of that and follow the modifications that are offered. So focusing a little bit now specifically on your breathing, noticing the inhale and the exhale, and beginning to locate the direction of the breath, breathing up from the ground and exhaling back down to the ground. Trying to do all your breathing in and out through the nose unless the nose is blocked. And then on the next exhale, just see if you can introduce the ocean breath, the sighing sound, as you exhale through the nose. And if you're able to do that, if you've been practicing that since last week, just carry on for a few more breaths. And if you need a little bit of revision of ocean breath, then for the next couple of breaths, you're going to breathe in through the nose, and as you exhale, sigh the breath out through the mouth. Really feel as if you are lengthening the exhale by using the sighing sound, which is a slight restriction and control of the breath in the throat. And then what we'll do is, for the next 2 breaths, is as you sigh the breath out, halfway through the sigh, softly close the mouth and allow that sighing sound to transfer from the mouth to the nose. A bit like this. And that should help you to reconnect to ocean breath, long ocean breath, down to the ground on the exhale, exhaling through the nose. So to add in the ocean breath on the inhale, we're just going to use a similar technique. So everyone back together now. And I'm going to ask you to breathe in through the mouth and just create a reverse sighing sound as you inhale through the mouth, a bit like this. And then exhale ocean breath through the nose. Do that for 1 or 2 more breaths. And then, just as we did with the exhale, the next time you inhale with the sighing sound through your mouth, halfway through that inhale, softly close the mouth and allow that sighing sound to transfer from the mouth to the nose. And long ocean breath, exhale. And if we put those two halves of the ocean breath together, thinking about the exhale being longer than the inhale, think about inhaling ocean breath up from the ground through the nose, and exhale long ocean breath back down to the ground through the nose. Then we'll have our week 4 breathing practice. So we're going to do that for 5 more breaths in your own time. And at the end of that 5th breath, just pausing the ocean breath for a moment, reconnecting with your usual normal steady breath, and taking a moment to reflect and notice exactly how you feel in your body and your mind after that practice. This ocean breathing on inhale and exhale is a powerful tool which we hope you will use in your everyday life to create calm and steadiness, a feeling of soothing and relaxation in the body, but also a steadying and a focusing of the mind into this present moment. So now we're going to come back to that ocean breath practice and begin our first movement. On your next inhale, draw the arms apart, release the shoulders, and exhale long ocean breath down to the ground, bring the palms together. Inhale ocean breath, and exhale long ocean breath down to the ground. Inhale ocean breath up from the ground. Exhale ocean breath back down to the ground. Release the arms to the side and inhale, raise the arms, ocean breath coming up. And exhale, turn the palms, ocean breath back down to the ground. And 2 more times in your own pace. Feel that sense of connection to the ground through the feet and through the breath. Now we're going to shrug the shoulders, inhale ocean breath up from the ground, and exhale ocean breath back down to the ground, rolling the shoulders back and down. Taking a side stretch now, breathing in, reaching up with the right hand, and exhale ocean breath, side stretch. Inhale ocean breath up from the ground, and exhale, release the arm down. Inhale left arm up, ocean breath coming up from the ground, and exhale side stretch, ocean breath back down to the ground. And do that on either side in your own time, breathing up and down to the ground with your ocean breath. Now turn the palms out, take the fingertips onto the top of the shoulders and do these big elbow circles to release the shoulders. Still inhaling ocean breath up from the ground. Long exhale, ocean breath back down to the ground. And now we're going to stretch the back of the neck, take the head forwards, rest the right hand on the back of the head. And if it's right for you, slightly turning the head to look towards the left thigh. And to release, inhale ocean breath, turn the head and lift the head back up. And the same on the other side. Exhale forwards. Take a breath there. Exhale ocean breath, turn the head. All neck movements done with breath awareness and very slowly and gently. Coming into our seated twist now, so exhaling, rotating around to the right, releasing the hands down. Inhale, ocean breath up from the ground, and exhale, long ocean breath, release into the twist. Use the breathing up from the ground to lengthen the spine. And as you exhale now, turning the head towards the center of the room, so the shoulders and the head are now twisting in opposite directions. Inhale back to center, ocean breath up from the ground, sit tall. Exhale, ocean breath, and rotating to the other side. Develop the twist with your breathing up and down from the ground. On the next inhale, ocean breath up from the ground, turn the head into the center of the room, and exhale, release the spine into opposite directions. And inhale, back to center. We'll take a little forward fold here, using the hands to support the upper body on the thighs, to release from the twisting movements. And now we take our first back bend, arms behind you or holding the back of the chair, and focusing on lifting the upper part of the back, sinking the spine in between the shoulders. Still breathing up through the feet, through the base of the pelvis, up from the ground. Inhale, ocean breath, and exhale, ocean breath. Release from the back bend and forward fold. And take a couple of breaths here to really find the release in the lower back as you hang the upper body forwards from the pelvis. So we're going to continue our practice now on the chair or down on the mat. Just taking a moment to find a comfortable position, and then bending the knees if you're lying on the mat, palms on the abdomen for both students, whether you're in the mat or on the chair, and noticing how that long ocean breath exhale down to the ground, you can lengthen it by drawing in the tummy muscles at the end of the exhale. This is going to activate some important core muscles. Now we're going to breathe in, take the arms up into the air or overhead with ocean breath, and exhale, bring the hands back down onto the abdomen, feeling the drawing in of the deep abdominal muscles as you complete your exhalation. Inhaling ocean breath up from the ground, exhaling ocean breath back down to the ground. And when we activate these deep abdominal muscles, these deep core muscles, it does give us an enhanced sense of steadiness, foundation, and earth connection. Try to keep the shoulders as soft as possible as you do this movement. And then at the end of the next one, drawing the knees in over the chest, take a rock from side to side if you are lying on the mat. So next we're going to circle the knees, keeping the knees together if you're on the mat, and circling the upper body around the pelvis if you are in the chair. Inhale, ocean breath up from the ground. Exhale, long ocean breath back down to the ground. And now taking hold of the right thigh or right shin, rotating the foot to mobilize the ankle, and doing that on the other leg as well. Inhaling ocean breath up from the ground, long ocean breath back down to the ground. And then keeping hold of the right leg now and drawing it in towards the body during that long ocean breath. Exhale. And as you do your ocean breath, inhale, just allowing the knee to release away, allowing the arms to straighten, creating space for the breath, and using the drawing in of the leg and the long ocean breath, exhale, to open the hip a little bit. And then working on the left leg in the same way. So remember, if you're lying on the mat, you can do this practice in a few different ways, up to and including working with the other leg straight. And then release both legs straight, and then bring the knees back in. And now we're going to do a little bit of further strengthening to those deep abdominal muscles. If you're lying on your back, as you exhale, using the tummy muscles to feel as if you're lifting just a little bit of the back of the pelvis off the mat. So not rocking the knees in, but using the tummy muscles to draw in. This is quite a strong practice. If you've got any reason not to overwork the tummy muscles, then take a modified option. And now we're going to open the pelvis, so circling into both sides of the pelvis if you're on the mat, or doing one side at a time if you're in the chair. Inhale, ocean breath up from the ground. Exhale, long ocean breath back down to the ground. And then release from that practice, slide the legs straight if you're on the mat, and breathe in, take the arms overhead and really tense the whole of the body, and then exhale, bring the arms back and soften the whole of the body. And it's the same in the chair, but we're just really working with the upper body here, although you can engage the hip muscles and the leg muscles a little bit as you take the arms into the air. Inhale, ocean breath, find the strength and muscular engagement in the body, and long ocean breath, exhale down to the ground and allow the body to become soft. So you become an expert in switching on and off muscular tension in your own body. And then having done that dynamically, we're going to move into holding the stretch, taking the arms up into the air and just holding it for a few additional breaths, but not too long. It is really tiring to hold the arms up in the air, so this is actually a harder practice if you're in the chair, so don't do too many. It's easier if you are lying down. Still doing your ocean breath up from the ground and down to the ground during this stretching phase, and then on a long ocean breath, releasing the body into softness, whether you are on the mat or in the chair. And really feel how much you can release the body down to the ground and into a state of tension-free softness. So our next practice is a twist, our second twist, but this time the shoulders and the knees ending up in opposite directions, and we're working with the breath. So if you're in the chair, inhaling to center, palms together, exhale, turn the shoulders one way and the head the other. And if you're lying on the mat, releasing the knees on an exhale, rolling the head to the other side, making sure the back of the neck is long, so probably supported by a yoga block or a blanket. And we're at week 4 now, so you might be experimenting with slightly stronger versions of the twist if you're on the mat. This one now, the feet are together. And for some of you without lower back or abdominal issues, may progress to moving in and out of the twist with the knees in over the chest, but that is a lot stronger. And really use that long ocean breath down to the ground to find your fullest expression of this spinal twist. And when you're finished, hugging the knees in over the chest if you're lying on the mat. And now we're going to do another twist, but this time we're holding the twisting position. And if you're working in a chair, you can sit sideways on the chair and use the back of the chair to help to turn the shoulders in one direction while the head turns in the other direction. And we're doing around 3 to 5 ocean breaths, this time in the held twist. And then releasing from the twist, bowing forwards if you're in the chair, or drawing the knees in over the chest and rocking if you are working on the mat. We're cross crawling now, so breathing in, right arm overhead, left leg in the air. And if you're working on the chair, exactly the same. Remember, you can just work with the arms first and then the legs, and then bring in the opposite arm and leg. Inhale, ocean breath up from the ground. Exhale, long ocean breath back down to the ground. And really noticing this week how the additional control of the ocean breath on the inhale is beginning to transform your practice from just the physical exercise and movements into much more of a meditative breath-led practice. So we're doing a little bit of leg muscle strengthening here by lifting and lowering the leg with the breath. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower, and just lifting from a seated position. But if you're on the mat, you can work with the knee bent, or for a stronger version, straighten the leg that is being lifted. And if you are working on the mat, just sliding the fingertips under the lower back and making sure that there's no movement there when you lift the leg. So one of the muscles we're working here goes through the pelvis and attaches on the lower back, and we don't want that muscle to pull the lower back around. So there's a little bit of engagement of your abdominal muscles to support your lower back as you do this practice. We're tilting the pelvis now, so if you're in the chair, this is a little bit easier to see. Breathing in, taking the top of the pelvis forwards, breathing out, taking it back, flattening the back a little bit. And if you're lying on the mat, you can feel this movement with the exhale as the top of the pelvis moves back towards the ground. The lower back will flatten down, and you might also feel yourself engaging with those abdominal muscles again. So we're coming into back bend now. Take anything out from under the back of the head if you're lying on the mat. And this time, as you breathe in with the feet hip width apart, just allowing the pelvis to float up as you do your ocean breath up from the ground. And long ocean breath, roll the spine and the back of the pelvis back down onto the mat. Gradually coming up a little bit higher with each inhalation. And in the chair, we're doing the same movement, but achieving that by rolling the shoulders back, opening the chest on the inhale, and allowing the hands to slide from the knees back towards the top of the pelvis, and exhaling, releasing back to a flattish back on the out breath. When you've done around about 5 of those, just take a moment's rest, and then we're going to hold the back bend for 3 to 5 breaths. If you're working on the mat, this is quite hard work for the thighs, and if you've got any lower back problems, paying particular attention to keeping the tummy drawn in as you lift the pelvis up off the mat. And then when you've finished that work, releasing into a soft forward bend, or hugging the knees in over the chest. Our next practice is to stretch the hamstrings, and as usual we are bending the knee on the inhale and moving into the stretch during the exhale. So really use the ocean breath for this, inhaling up from the ground as you bend the knee, and long ocean breath back down to the ground as you stretch out the back of the right thigh. And as we've been saying each week so far, this is a set of muscles, the hamstrings, that do tend to get quite tight from a lot of chair sitting. So it's important to stretch them out, because when they're tight and short, it can create a lot of tension through the pelvis and into the lower back. So holding the stretch now, still on this right leg. And when you've done around 5 breaths, releasing the right leg and just pausing before we do the left, and notice the difference in sensations between the leg that has been stretched and the leg that is about to be stretched. And then left side, inhale, ocean breath, breathing up from the ground, long ocean breath, back down to the ground, and this time stretching the back of the left leg. Remember, you're following your own breath. You don't have to be exactly in sync with the pictures on the screen. And as we go through the weeks of the course, these movements will tend to get a little bit slower as you gain more control over your breath. And then holding the stretch on the left leg in exactly the same way, and still ocean breath up from the ground, long ocean breath back down to the ground. And release your spine from this practice in the same way, forward folding if you're in a chair, and lying on the back, just stretching out both legs, and now noticing the sensations in both legs, which will be a little bit more equal. So we're doing a hip opener now called Thread the Needle, and it could be as simple as just releasing the right knee out to the side, supporting the foot on a block. If you're lying on the mat and you have no knee issues and your hips are fairly open, there's some variations here where the right ankle can be on the right thigh, and even that left foot can come in over the body, left thigh in over the body for a really deep hip opening. But as you do this, making sure you are flexing the right foot, pulling the toes back to protect the knee. And then when you're ready, doing the same on the other side. Just simple support or slightly deeper versions of the hip opening, this time for the left hip. This is one example where you really need to listen to your body and do the practice that is appropriate for you. And if you have any discomfort in the knee, always go for the simplest practice, the simplest modification. So the cat stretch now that you're becoming increasingly familiar with. A variety of ways of doing this, just seated in the chair, moving the whole of the spine, not doing too much with the neck, focusing on the mid part of the back in particular. And if you're working on the mat but you have shoulder or wrist issues, you can use the support of the chair, or you can have the hands on the floor in front of the shoulders. And if you're working in the chair but you're able to stand, you could use the back of the chair to support yourself. And from the cat, we're moving into the lunge. Using the chair is a really good way to avoid having to take weight into the knee joint. And if you're working in a chair, just taking the left leg off to the side and focusing on drawing the shoulders back and opening the front of the chest as you rest the hands on the thigh. Still inhaling ocean breath up from the ground, exhaling long ocean breath back down to the ground. And now we're going to work on a little bit of back strengthening. If you're working on the mat, lying on your front, and then coming up into this Sphinx position with the elbows forwards if your back is stiff, and at all times if you're on the mat, keeping the front of the pelvis firmly pressing down towards the ground, towards the earth. If you're in a chair, you're raising and lowering the arms into the Sphinx position with the breath, and that's just to avoid us getting tired arms by holding them in a similar position to that being done by those working on the floor. You can move on to a slightly stronger Sphinx with the elbows under the shoulders, and then releasing from that, taking some rest. Or if you're in a chair, but you could support yourself with the chair in this way, you can do the Sphinx with the support of the seat of the chair. Inhale, ocean breath up from the ground. Exhale, long ocean breath back down to the ground. And if you're lying on your front, you really have a real experience of earth connection here. So this practice is a little bit more dynamic and back strengthening, breathing in and raising the upper chest away from the ground. And by keeping the arms quite wide, that resists the temptation for us to push ourselves up with the arms. So try to use your back muscles here. And if you're in the chair, the most effective back strengthener is this one showing now, where you lean forward and then use your back muscles to raise the spine up, almost to sitting up but not quite, and exhaling, lowering down. And again, come into resting poses between each of these back strengtheners, and at all times just keeping an eye on your back so that you're not suffering any discomfort. So to strengthen the hip muscles, if you're in a chair, you're tensing and relaxing the muscles around the hips, the glute muscles, with the breath. And if you're lying on your front, rest the forehead on the back of the hands or on a yoga block, and raise and lower alternate legs, keeping the legs straight. Inhale, ocean breath, up from the ground. Exhale, long ocean breath, down to the ground. And again, there's a chair version of this if you are able to come down onto the mat, just to get a little bit more of a similar practice to those working on their fronts. And then take your final counter pose, pose of the child, or resting the forehead down on the chair at the end of this practice. Now we've got a little downward dog sequence. So breathing in from all fours, and then exhaling, lifting the hips up, keeping the knees bent, breathing in the posture, and then exhaling, lowering back down. If you're in the chair, you're raising both arms and alternate legs to make a similar shape. It's actually stronger on the legs if you're working in the chair. If you have medical conditions like high blood pressure or cardiovascular disease, and you've been advised not to do any inversions, even the fairly mild inversion of downward dog, then you can use the back of the chair to raise the upper body and still experience the full benefits of the pose. So here is the chair version. This time exactly the same, 4 breath sequence. Inhale, exhale, coming into the pose. Inhaling ocean breath in the pose. Long ocean breath, release from the pose. But some of you may be doing the version on the right, which is the full chair support, where the head never goes below the level of the heart, and this is particularly good for the conditions already mentioned. It's an iconic yoga pose, the downward dog, so it's nice to have these options so that everybody can do this pose, no matter if they're working in a chair, having the support of the chair, or working from the mat. And now we're holding the downward dog in whatever position is working for you. 3 to 5 breaths, and then release yourself into a relaxation pose. We continue our practice now from standing. Bring the palms together. If you're working in a chair, of course staying in the chair, and we're just re-releasing the shoulders, the wrists, the hands after the weight bearing work of the cat and the downward dog. There's a few different practices shown here, and you can really pick the ones that you enjoy the most. Keep your ocean breath going, inhaling up from the ground, exhale, long ocean breath back down to the ground. And then we can really reconnect with that full breath by sweeping the arms out and up, rolling the shoulders back, and long ocean breath, exhale, draw the palms down in front of the chest. And really flow with this movement. Gather your breath, find the fullest expression. And we're going to use this practice to mobilize the feet a little bit, so lifting the toes on the inhale on one round, and then on the next one raising the heels. And this works whether you're standing up or in a chair. You'll still awaken the muscles of the feet. Of course, those standing, you're beginning to work on your balance skills here as well. Now we're coming into sun salutations. Inhale and exhale, folding forwards. Inhale, ocean breath, flatten the back. Exhale, long ocean breath down to the ground. Inhale, bend the knees flat, back come up, ocean breath up from the ground. Exhale, long ocean breath, palms together. Breathing in, reaching up, and ocean breath, exhale, side bend. Inhale, ocean breath to center, and exhale, ocean breath down to the ground, hands in front of the heart. Other side, inhale, reach up. Exhale, long ocean breath to the left. Inhale, ocean breath up from the ground. Exhale, ocean breath, hands in front of the heart. Second round. Exhaling, long ocean breath, folding forwards. Inhale, flatten the back. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Inhale, ocean breath coming up, open the heart. Exhale, palms together. Inhale, reaching up, and exhale, side bend. Inhale, reaching up, and exhale, hands in front of the heart. Inhale, reaching up, and exhale to the other side, long ocean breath, exhale. Inhale, ocean breath up from the ground, and exhale back down to the ground. So continue for a few more rounds, following your own breath. Don't be in any rush. Don't try to keep up with the video images. Just work at your own pace and find that connection between your ocean breath and the movements of your body. So you begin to make this practice a really mindful sense of connection between you, your body, your breath, and your connection to the ground. These simple sun salutations are a really easy way to combine breath and movement. And we find that many of our NHS patients and yoga students doing this practice, they really like to practice these sun salutations at home. So the sequence becomes super familiar. And with familiarity comes a depth of experience, a transition from breath and movement to breath leading movement, and then finally really feeling as if you are doing meditation in movement. Inhale, ocean breath up from the ground. Exhale, long ocean breath back down to the ground. As you do the sequence, being really aware, if you're standing, of the sense of connection to the ground through the soles of the feet. And if you're working in the chair, feeling that earth connection through the soles of the feet and also through the base of the pelvis and the back of the thighs. And as you come to the end of the next sun salutation, just pausing for a moment, noticing how you feel. And then we're going to move on to our warrior one. So working in the chair, either right foot forward, left foot to the side, or you can stand up and hold the back of the chair. If you're able to stand, we're breathing in, separating the arms just like we did right at the beginning of the practice, and taking the right leg into a lunge and exhaling, straightening the leg as the palms come back together. And again, you'll be getting familiar with this, but we keep the feet hip width apart and we're hardly turning out the back foot, so you really want to feel a stretch through the back of the left calf and heel and through the front of the left thigh. Don't allow that back leg to rotate outwards and lose that stretch. And then repeating on the other side. Inhale, ocean breath up from the ground. Exhale, long ocean breath back down to the ground. And then finishing that practice, we're going to do our warrior two now. So if you're standing, separating the feet a little bit more wider apart than you had for warrior one, and turning the right thigh out and the right foot out just as much as your hips allow, and doing a similar thing in the chair. As you exhale, the leg straightens, palms together. And as you inhale, let the knee lunge, extend through the fingertips, turn the head. Remember, we're keeping that lunge knee, if you're standing, no further than over the right ankle. And making sure that the knee and the foot are going in the same direction. You haven't turned the foot out further than your hips will really allow. Inhale, ocean breath up from the ground. Exhale, long ocean breath back down to the ground. Coming back to center for a moment, and then taking position for the other side. And when you're ready, doing exactly the same thing. Inhale, ocean breath, let the left knee lunge, extend the arms, turn the head. Exhale, ocean breath, straighten the leg, palms together, head forwards. And this is another practice that is going to become more and more like meditation in movement as familiarity grows and your ability to regulate and control your breath develops. And then just releasing back to center, noticing the effects of the warrior 1 and warrior 2. Then we can do our final pose before our closing inversion and relaxation, which is a balance. So again, we're just going to work on the heron balance this week. Breathing in, floating the arms out, and shifting the weight from side to side, either just lifting the heel if you're standing, or moving towards lifting the whole of one leg on the inhale, lowering it with control on that long ocean breath exhale. And for all the balances, we really encourage you to have a chair or perhaps a wall nearby if you feel at all unsteady. And even if you don't need it, you know you've got that support. Working on balance is incredibly important, so if you have to work in a chair, that's fine, but if you are able to stand and use the back of the chair or a wall for support, then obviously you will work a lot more directly on your balance skills. Finally, we're taking our mild inversion. If you're in the chair, just try to put your legs up on another chair. And if you've been working on the mat, support the back of the pelvis with a yoga block, have the lower legs on the seat of the chair and a blanket, enough blanket under the back of the head to make the back of the neck long and have the forehead level with or slightly higher than the chin. And just take a few restful breaths here, still inhaling ocean breath up from the ground and exhaling long ocean breath back down to the ground. And now we're going to transition into our relaxation pose. So just making yourself comfortable if you're lying on the mat or if you're staying in the chair, remembering to treat this relaxation more as a guided meditation, and particularly if you don't have sides on the chair and there might be a danger of falling off the chair should you drop off as you listen to the relaxation. And the relaxation is delivered by my colleague Leanne Antonia.
The adjustments now to make yourself really truly comfortable. Once you're comfortable, allow yourself to just notice your natural breathing. No need to control it just yet, but become aware of the inhales, the exhales, the inhales, and the exhales. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Now direct your attention to your right heel. Feel the right heel on the ground. The right heel is on the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the right heel, and exhale ocean breath from the right heel back to the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the right heel. Exhale ocean breath from the right heel back to the ground. Feel the touch of the right calf on the ground. The right calf is being supported by the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the right calf, and exhale ocean breath from the right calf into the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the right calf, and exhale ocean breath from the right calf into the ground. Notice your right thigh. Notice the touch of the right thigh on the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the right thigh. Exhale ocean breath from the right thigh back to the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the right thigh. Exhale ocean breath from the right thigh back to the ground. Notice the right buttock. And notice how the right buttock is supported by the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the right buttock. Exhale elongated ocean breath from the right buttock back to the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the right buttock. Exhale ocean breath from the right buttock back to the ground. Softly move your awareness to your left heel, the heel of the left foot, and notice the touch of the left heel against the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the left heel. Exhale ocean breath from the left heel back to the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the left heel. Exhale ocean breath from the left heel back to the ground. Notice your left calf. Your left calf. Notice how the left calf is supported by the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the left calf. Exhale ocean breath from the left calf back to the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the left calf. Exhale ocean breath from the left calf back to the ground. Notice your left thigh. Your left thigh is in contact with the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the left thigh. Exhale ocean breath from the left thigh into the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the left thigh. Exhale elongated ocean breath from the left thigh back to the ground. The left buttock is on the ground. Notice the touch of the left buttock against the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the left buttock. Exhale ocean breath from the left buttock back to the ground. Inhale ocean breath up from the ground into the left buttock. Exhale elongated ocean breath from the left buttock back to the ground. The lower back may be on the ground or even slightly lifted away from the ground. Notice the contact between the lower back and the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the lower back. Exhale, long ocean breath from the lower back to the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the lower back. Exhale, long ocean breath from the lower back into the ground. Notice the middle back. The middle back. The middle back is touching the ground. Feel the middle back in contact with the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the middle back. Exhale, long ocean breath from the middle back into the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the middle back. Exhale, long ocean breath from the middle back into the ground. Notice the upper back. The upper back is touching the ground. Feel the upper back supported by the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the upper back. Exhale, ocean breath from the upper back into the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the upper back. Exhale, long ocean breath from the upper back into the ground. Allow your attention to move to your right shoulder blade. You can feel the touch of the right shoulder blade against the floor. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the right shoulder blade, and exhale, ocean breath from the right shoulder blade into the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the right shoulder blade. Exhale, long ocean breath from the right shoulder blade into the ground. Gently move your awareness to your left shoulder blade, the left shoulder blade. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the left shoulder blade. Exhale, long ocean breath from the left shoulder blade into the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the left shoulder blade. Exhale, long ocean breath from the left shoulder blade into the ground. Now move your awareness to your right hand and feel the touch of the right hand on the floor. Breathe up ocean breath from the ground into the right hand and breathe long ocean breath out of the right hand back to the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the right hand. Exhale, long ocean breath from the right hand back to the ground. The right forearm is on the ground. Notice the touch of the right forearm against the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the right forearm. Exhale, ocean breath from the right forearm into the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the right forearm. Exhale, ocean breath from the right forearm back to the ground. Notice your right elbow. Your right elbow is on the ground. Feel the touch of the right elbow on the ground. Breathe up ocean breath from the ground into the right elbow. Exhale, ocean breath from the right elbow back to the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the right elbow. Exhale, ocean breath from the right elbow into the ground. Notice your right upper arm. Feel the touch of the right upper arm against the ground. Inhale, ocean breath up from the ground into the right upper arm. Exhale, long ocean breath from the right upper arm back to the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the right upper arm. Exhale, long ocean breath from the right upper arm back to the ground. Notice your right shoulder. The right shoulder is on the ground. Feel the right shoulder on the ground. Breathe in ocean breath from the ground into the right shoulder. Exhale, ocean breath from the right shoulder back to the ground. Breathe up ocean breath from the ground into the right shoulder. Exhale, long ocean breath from the right shoulder back to the ground. Notice your left hand. Your left hand. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the left hand. Exhale, long ocean breath from the left hand back to the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the left hand. Exhale, ocean breath from the left hand back to the ground. Notice your left forearm and feel the contact of your left forearm against the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the left forearm. Exhale, ocean breath from the left forearm back to the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the left forearm. Exhale, ocean breath from the left forearm back to the ground. Notice your left elbow. Feel the contact of your left elbow against the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the left elbow. Exhale, ocean breath from the left elbow back to the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the left elbow. Exhale, long ocean breath from the left elbow back to the ground. Notice the left upper arm. The left upper arm is in contact with the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the left upper arm. Exhale, long ocean breath from the left upper arm back to the ground. Inhale, ocean breath up from the ground into the left upper arm. Exhale, long ocean breath from the left upper arm back to the ground. Your left shoulder is on the ground. Notice the touch of the left shoulder against the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the left shoulder. Exhale, long ocean breath from the left shoulder back to the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the left shoulder. Exhale, long ocean breath from the left shoulder back to the ground. Feel the touch of the back of the head on the ground. The back of the head is supported by the ground. Inhale, ocean breath from the ground into the back of the head, and exhale, ocean breath from the back of the head into the ground. Inhale ocean breath from the ground into the back of the head, and exhale ocean breath from the back of the head into the ground. The whole body is on the ground. The whole body is supported by the ground. Notice the touch of the whole body on the ground. The whole body is on the ground. The whole body is supported by the ground. Notice the touch of the whole body on the ground. Allow yourself to become aware again of your natural breathing. You can let go of your ocean breath and softly return to natural breathing. Noticing your inhale, noticing your exhale. Noticing your inhales, noticing your exhales.
And now we're going to come back up to sitting for our final breathing practice. So take your time to release from your relaxation pose, and if you're sitting in a chair, just coming into a comfortable position with the spine a little more upright than you perhaps had for relaxation. And if you've been lying on the mat, you can either sit cross-legged on a block or yoga blanket, or sit back in the chair. And working with your eyes closed or downcast, connecting to your ocean breath, inhaling ocean breath up from the ground, and exhaling long ocean breath down to the ground. Inhaling ocean breath up from the ground, exhaling long ocean breath back down to the ground. And continue for another 3 breaths in your own time. And at the end of the next exhale, allow your breath to return to its own natural rhythm. Blink open the eyes if you've had the eyes closed. And take a final check-in with yourself. Notice how you feel in your body, your breath, and your mind. And particularly how grounded and stable you feel in your body and in your mind. So that completes our week 4 practice. Remember that if you can do your daily home practice of whatever length you can fit in, and continuing to work for this next week on breathing up and down from the ground with ocean breath and long ocean breath on the exhale. And then when we come back for next week, we'll be moving on to a different theme and a slightly different variation of this breath. So until then, thanks for practicing and goodbye.